A lot of you have been requesting that we cover the life of a male cabin crew. My dear friend, Nick Dawes, will be sharing his journey, how he applied, when he finally got it, what happened, and how does one thrive once you become a cabin crew. I have been telling you for weeks how excited I am to really have you in our channel. So thank you very much.
It's exciting to be here. I've never done one of these things before. So.
You've never done it. Never done it.
Never. Not video. I don't like video, but I'm here.
Where are you from, Nick?
Okay, so I'm English born, but I left when I was young and I grew up in Australia.
Today, Nick, we'll be talking about your experience as a cabin crew with Emirates, and also we'll be talking about how was your journey when you applied, when you finally got the job, and what keeps you going. Are you ready?
I am ready. I'm ready as I ought to be anyway.
He wore his uniform.
Just for me.
I know. Thank you, Nick.
She wouldn't let me take my shirt off.
I told him, you don't have to wear anything. Just your smile is enough.
You'd lose viewers if you saw that. That's scary.
As we begin, tell me, who is Nick Dawes? How long have you been with Emirates?
9.5 years with Emirates. So I joined in June 2011, middle of summer. It was very hard to adjust to the weather. But me in general, so I'm old. I'm in my 40s.
You're not old. 40 is not old. It's the new 20.
Yeah.
Do you feel 20 at least?
Well, you're only as old as the woman you're feeling.
Oh!
Can I say that? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm into football. I play a bit. I used to play a lot. I also do a podcast where I interview cabin crew as well, just like Mae is right now. I sell some stuff, which is all crew related as well. That's about it. That's me.
Now, people might be asking, are you single or are you still in a relationship? Let's just get that over and done with.
Do I have to answer this question?
Yeah, you
I'm not sure who will watch this.
Or you can say pass if you want.
Pass.
Okay, so we'll leave it at that.
If you're an attractive girl out there and you're looking for a guy.
Oh, you're hilarious.
Oh, goodness me.
Let's give them a backstory as to how we met.
You have a great memory.
So we basically did London together, and both of us work in the first class cabin.
Yeah,
And we got along because Nick is very hardworking. Maybe on the day you were hardworking.
I was showing off.
Yeah.
That's one thing I do. If there's nice crew, nice girls on the flight, I will be like everything for them. I don't like them.
You will be like,
No, I'm kidding.
And London is usually a very busy flight. It's a crazy flight. So we did that together, and we arrived in the hotel. We came down with the rest of the crew. You had wine, I had wine.
Yeah,
maybe a glass. No, you had a bottle or two.
Oh, no, because
And we had a great chat because apart from being a cabin crew, Nick also does a lot of stuff on the side. He's also an entrepreneur, so we got into good conversation, and then we started, keeping in touch.
Yeah. It was a very proactive conversation. It led to us chatting a lot since then, and the like-minded attitudes to life, I guess, are quite similar.
What made you join Emirates? Was it your dream to become a cabin crew?
My dream was traveling, yes, but it wasn't necessarily to be cabin crew.
Okay.
Probably by chance, my mum saw an ad in the newspaper, and she's like, oh, look at this. So I went, okay, cool, this is an opportunity. I decided to go to the open day.
And how was your journey from there?
Well, that was actually a false start. I didn't get past that stage the first occasion because I didn't realise it was actually a process to go through to applying for the job properly. I thought it was an open day where I would get information and I would hand in my resume and that kind of thing, but it turned out that it was the whole process. I had prior engagements that day, so I was only able to stay until a certain point of the journey at that point.
Okay, so
and then I had to leave, so I had to just pull out.
You passed certain stages.
Well, I passed 2 stages.
Okay.
And then they said, look, we want you to come back this afternoon. But as I said, I played football. That was my priority.
Okay.
So then it was just a matter of waiting until the next occasion came up. The open days in each city don't come around
every week.
No, that's right. The next occasion came up in Sydney, and this is probably where I learnt more about the process. Still, I didn't get past. Didn't go through. This time, because of me and whatever reason, you don't get feedback. So I managed to get through to the last group stage in Sydney, then didn't make it past there. Didn't get feedback, but I at least was given the exposure to how the process was.
Right.
I could see from the exposure what they were looking for in a hindsight perspective. I did this, maybe that's not what they were after on that day.
Right. The thing is, when you go through the assessment and if you don't make it, the assessors don't tell you the reason why,
No.
right? So they just tell you didn't make it, you come back and try again next time. It took you 3 tries then.
Yeah.
We look back, we'll take a trip down to memory lane and we'll try to remember some things, Nick. For those, especially those who really want to be cabin crew, those male aspirants out there, how did you prepare? What was your suit? Do you remember your hairstyle? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Men in Black is what I look like.
Men in
Without the
Black.
sunglasses.
Okay.
It was basically a fitted suit,
Fitted suit.
charcoal, so it was like a very, very dark grey, black nearly, white shirt. To be honest, I'm saying Men in Black because I'm quite sure it was a black skinny tie. It could have been a stripy tie, but
Okay.
Men in Black sounds cool, so we'll go
Why
with
not?
that. Besides that, my hair was probably quite similar to now. I had, as I said, the previous education of being to previous assessments, so I could see the way that people looked. And it was prim and proper, so shaved. Hair was styled neatly, there was no funkiness behind it or out there kind of styles. It was very basic, could be boring, but that's what I needed to be.
Okay.
You know, nothing. I didn't want to stand out, obviously, but I wanted to stand out in a professional sense.
During the assessment, what he really focused on was to be presentable in a way that he gives off the impression of being professional,
Yes.
being clean and neat, prim and proper.
Yes.
That's your words. Yeah.
And
So,
not being out there.
yeah.
You know, you don't
not
want
too
to be,
loud. You don't
no,
want to be too loud. That's a good tip. Suit and tie, clean hairstyle, shave,
Belt match your shoes, yeah.
belt matches your shoes.
But I mean, it was all black anyway. So
Yeah.
if I was to go for the interview again, I would possibly be daring enough to go for a navy blue suit or maybe a grey suit, but
Okay.
I would not go anything else. I wouldn't go for a bright blue or
Right.
white or anything
Okay.
like that.
All right.
No.
Still something formal.
I'm not going to a wedding.
Yeah,
You know, so
exactly.
I think it was a matter of looking a little bit like what Emirates Crew already looked like. I had looks on the websites.
It's good to also refer to what the airline that you're applying for, how does their cabin crew look like, right? And that's
yes.
what you did. You don't really want to imitate it all, but at least you get to have an
No.
image of how they look like. Stay classic.
Yes,
Classy.
definitely.
Right.
Definitely.
Okay, so Nick, during those times when you were on your 3rd try, what was your mental thought process then? How did you prepare? Because I shared to them on our previous episodes that when I went to the assessment, I was totally clueless. Like, I had
okay.
zero knowledge, no
Yeah,
research whatsoever. I was
Yeah.
just like, So how did you prepare? Did you research?
As I say, the research was about how they looked. I did also research about, I guess, the basics of Emirates in regards to where they flew. So I looked up what they looked for in the assessment, basic things like no visible tattoos and things like my reach, how far I can reach type of thing. Because I'd been previously, I knew that I shouldn't stand out in the sense of communication on the day. Obviously you'd be forthcoming, you'd be there, but I knew that I didn't want to be asking 20 questions and making sure that everyone saw that I was there and being overconfident or over inquisitive.
Yes.
On the day, I wasn't first in the room, I stayed back. I made sure I chat with people around me to show it's a friendly nature, to show a level of confidence, but I wasn't going out there and being like, hey, like I wasn't over the top.
Right.
I guess if I was standing in line with you right now, Mae, I'd be saying, hi, how are you? How
Okay.
you going? Welcome. It's nice to see you here, whatever, and how you feeling, that kind of just general chit-chat. And to the person behind me in the lineup, I would make sure I was standing properly, not leaning against the wall or that kind of thing. When I also got into the room, it was a group session first with everyone in the one room.
Right.
We go in with our resumes. It was just like a classroom setting, I guess, like with seats behind each other. So I didn't sit near the front, I didn't sit at the very back. It was mostly girls, a good 90%
Women.
approximately, yeah.
Wow.
It's like
Wow.
5. And I remember some of them, even like crew from other airlines, they were sitting at the very front, they were asking 20 questions and being a bit too much.
Okay.
So I didn't want to do that kind of thing because, as I said from the previous times, I was noticing that that's not what they were.
Right, looking for. So as you said, when you prepared, you did a little bit of background research as to the airline that you were working
Yeah.
for. On the day, when he went into the assessment, he noticed that there were a lot of female aspirants, as in all assessment. I think it's really predominantly women.
So it's a good percentage.
Good percentage,
Yeah.
right. When you went there, you still remained to be professional. You were friendly, but you weren't too loud.
No.
I think that's one thing that you really have to be particular.
To be honest, one thing I will mention as well, I think being a male applicant, I felt a little less looked upon as well. Just because I didn't have to worry about things like my hair and makeup and so forth, because that really makes a difference, I think, for the girls.
Right.
Like if your makeup is too much or the wrong color, or
Right.
your hair is the wrong color as well, or
Right.
multiple colors and noticeable, then your hair tie is not matching, or you're not wearing the right business attire. For a girl, I think it's more obvious just because there's more for you to do.
Correct.
So for me, being male in that environment, easy. Did my
Yes.
hair, maybe a bit of hairspray, put a suit on.
So that's an advantage of being a male
I think
aspirant
so.
as well.
I think
Less
so, yeah.
things to prepare. That's a good tip. It's not too much as opposed to the female aspirants out
Yeah.
there. For you, Nick, after everything, those process, what do you think was the key factor that you got the job?
I think it's possibly the amalgamation of multiple factors. Having just an overall friendly nature would be high up on the list if there was to be a number. I think just having the friendly persona would be the major part of it. Yeah.
Once you go into the assessment, you must make sure that you have a friendly nature.
Yes.
Right? And you must also look into how you behave, how you talk. What the airline is looking for are people person. There are some questions from aspirants out there. What are your thoughts about tattoos?
For me, I don't have any. In the industry that we're in, to Emirates, they don't want them to be visible, so
Right.
fair enough.
If you are a male aspirant and you have tattoos, as you can see, Nick is wearing the uniform, so he's wearing a long sleeve. So if you have sleeves, for example, that would be
Full
fine.
sleeves. Sorry.
That would be okay because that is covered anyway. If you have tattoos on your legs, that would be fine
Just
as
to
well.
clarify, the sleeve tattoos, they do
Check
put,
it?
No, they do put a bandage on because
During
it's,
work?
Yeah. Most of the guys are going to make the Scott sleeve. It covers it up because
wow.
it would be visible to some
With
degree
this, okay.
through that. We wear a t-shirt underneath,
Right.
which you can see the t-shirt. I
Right.
think. I don't know if you
Okay.
can, but
Yeah.
normally you can.
So if you have dark tattoos, it would show.
It would show. So most of the guys will be wearing a glove thing to cover it, or sleeve to
really?
cover it. Yeah, white ones.
Oh,
As far as I know, I mean, as I said, my mate, he
Yes,
has that.
tattoos, so he
Yeah.
covers it as well. That's a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
thing to know. What about the height?
Interesting point. I never thought I could be a crew. I have a friend who used to work for Qantas. He's not as tall as I am. He told me all about how amazing his job was. So I was looking into it with Qantas at first, and I was too tall.
You were too tall.
Too tall. Yeah.
How tall are you,
I'm
Nick?
188.
6'2", right?
Yeah, from memory, it was high 170s. From memory. So I was too tall for Qantas back then. The thing with Emirates, which was positive for me, was that my height was a bonus, because they do the reach test in the assessment.
It's something that's new to me. I thought that once you're tall, that's it. If you're an aspirant, you should also look into the requirements of different airlines because different airlines might have different requirements. As Nick said, in Qantas, if he would have applied, he wouldn't have made it because he was too tall.
Yeah.
But with most airlines, I believe it's just a matter of reach test. There's
I
a
think
mark
so.
that you have to reach. Once
Yeah.
you pass that, then
Then you're safe.
you're safe. Now that you're finally a cabin crew,
Yes.
and in an industry where there's a lot of women, a male cabin crew stands out. Let's talk about the pros and the cons of being a male cabin crew. We'll start with the pros.
Women.
What is one piece of advice that you can share to the male cabin crew aspirants out there?
There's nothing more that you should be doing than to be yourself, because if you're not being yourself, you're being fake.